Dae Kim stood in the cargo bay of the transport ship and stared out the small window. His reflection looked back at him, a short man with tired eyes and grease-stained hands. Outside, the biggest structure he had ever seen slowly came into view. Nexus Prime Station looked like a small moon made of metal and lights. "First human to visit," the pilot had told him earlier. "They're curious about your kind." Dae adjusted his tool bag on his shoulder. He was just a mechanic from Titan, one of Saturn's moons, where humans had built a small colony. The Galactic Council had chosen him for a cultural exchange program. They wanted to see what humans could do. He wanted to see the stars. The transport ship docked with a loud clang. Dae walked down the ramp and into a corridor full of aliens. Tall ones, short ones, some with fur, some with scales. Some that looked like walking crystals. All of them stopped and stared at him. A creature that looked like a giant insect approached him. It had 6 legs and 4 arms. Its eyes were like black mirrors. "You are the human?" it asked. Its voice came from a translator device on its chest. "Yes, I'm Dae Kim. I am Commander Thalvex. Welcome to Nexus Prime Station." The commander looked down at Dae. "You are very small." Dae was used to this. He was only 5 feet and 2 inches tall. "I'm average for a human." "Interesting," Thalvex said, but he didn't sound interested. "You will work in the maintenance department, lower decks, follow the guide." A small floating robot appeared and beeped at Dae. He followed it through the station. The hallways were enormous. The ceilings were 30 feet high. Everything was built for beings much larger than him. Other aliens watched him as he walked. Some pointed. Some made sounds that might have been laughter. One alien bent down and tried to pat his head like he was a pet. Dae moved away quickly. The guide robot took him to the maintenance department. It was deep in the lower levels of the station, where the lights were dimmer and the air smelled like oil and ozone. An alien with purple skin and 3 eyes looked at Dae. "Another maintenance worker?" "I'm Dae, from Earth." "Ah, the human." The alien made a clicking sound. "I am Kormesh. I run this department. Don't touch anything unless I tell you to. Humans break easily, I hear." Dae wanted to argue but stayed quiet. He needed this job. He needed to prove humans belonged in the galaxy. The first week was hard. The other workers gave him simple tasks. Carry this tool. Hold this light. Stay out of the way. They treated him like a child. At night, Dae slept in a small room barely big enough for his bed. He missed home. He missed people who didn't stare at him. On the 8th day, alarms started screaming through the station. Dae ran to the maintenance bay. Aliens were running everywhere. Kormesh was shouting orders. "What's happening?" Dae asked. "Sector 7 environmental system failure," Kormesh said. "Gravity is failing. Air is turning toxic. We have 40 species trapped there. We need to reach the control hub, but the passage collapsed." "Show me," Dae said. Kormesh led him to a narrow shaft. The entrance was blocked by twisted metal. Beyond it, Dae could see a small tunnel, maybe 2 feet wide. "We can't reach it," Kormesh said. "Even our smallest workers are too large." Dae looked at the shaft. Then he looked at his own body. "I can fit." Kormesh's 3 eyes widened. "You? It's dangerous. The gravity is unstable. The air is bad. You could die." "People will die if I don't try." Dae started taking off his jacket. "Give me a breathing mask and some tools." Kormesh stared at him for a moment. Then he gave orders. Other workers brought equipment. They fitted Dae with a small breathing mask and a safety line. They gave him a toolkit designed for delicate work. Dae crawled into the shaft. The metal was sharp. It cut his arms and legs through his clothes. The gravity shifted every few seconds. Sometimes he felt heavy like lead. Sometimes he felt light as air. His stomach twisted with each change. He crawled for what felt like hours. The tunnel was dark. His headlamp showed only a few feet ahead. Sweat ran into his eyes. His muscles burned. But he kept moving. Finally, he reached the control hub. The panel was damaged. Wires sparked and smoked. Day pulled out his tools and started working. His hands shook from exhaustion, but he forced them steady. Back in the maintenance bay, Cormesh watched the monitors. "He's been in there for 16 hours, another worker said. "Humans need rest," Cormesh said. "He should be unconscious by now." But Dai wasn't unconscious. He was connecting the last wire. His vision was blurry. His body screamed for sleep. But he finished the repair. The gravity stabilized. The air filters kicked on. The alarms stopped. Day crawled back through the tunnel. When he finally emerged, covered in blood and grease, the entire maintenance crew was waiting. They stared at him in silence. "Is everyone safe?" Day asked. Cormesh nodded slowly. "Yes, because of you." Day collapsed. They caught him before he hit the floor. As they carried him to the medical bay, he heard aliens whispering. 16 hours without rest. How is that possible? Maybe humans are not so weak. In his small room later, after the doctors had bandaged his cuts, Day smiled. It was a start, a small start, but it was something. He had shown them that humans could endure, that humans didn't give up, that size didn't matter when you had determination. Outside his window, the stars shined bright. Day closed his eyes and slept, dreaming of what tomorrow might bring. 2 weeks after the Sector 7 incident, Day sat in the station cafeteria. He was eating something that looked like blue paste. It tasted like metal and honey. Across from him sat Yuna Park, the only other human on the station. Yuna was a botanist. She studied alien plants in the station's biodomes. She was tall for a human woman with short black hair and bright eyes. "They're still talking about you," Yuna said. She sipped her drink, which was bright green. "The tiny human who saved Sector 7. Day shrugged. "I just did my job." For 16 hours straight. The aliens can't stop talking about it. Most species need to rest every 4 to 6 hours. You worked almost 3 times that long. "I didn't have a choice. People needed help." Yuna smiled. "That's very human of you. The aliens don't think that way. They follow rules, protocols. If the protocol says someone else should fix it, they wait." Day pushed his blue paste around his plate. "I've been noticing things, problems with the station systems, simple fixes that would make everything work better." "Have you told anyone?" "I tried. Cormesh said I should focus on my assigned duties. Commander Tholvex said humans don't understand station operations." Yuna frowned. "They still see us as children. Interesting pets, but not equals." The next day, Day was working in the power distribution center. He noticed the energy flow was inefficient. Power was being wasted through old relays. He could fix it easily. It would save the station 20% on energy costs. He went to find Cormesh. The purple-skinned engineer was overseeing a repair team. "Engineer Cormesh, I found something." "Not now, human. We are busy. But the power relays in Section 12 are—" Cormesh turned all 3 eyes on Day. "You have been here 1 month. I have been here 40 years. You think you know better than me?" "I'm not saying that. I just noticed—" "You noticed nothing important. Return to your duties." Day's face grew hot. He walked away, fists clenched. Behind him, he heard Cormesh talking to another engineer. "Humans are persistent. I'll give them that. But they don't understand the proper way to do things." That night, Day couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about the wasted power, about all the small problems he'd seen, about being dismissed and ignored. The next morning, Cormesh summoned him to the main engineering bay. A crowd had gathered, engineers from every department, even some station officers. Commander Tholvex stood at the back, watching. "Human Day," Cormesh said loudly. "You believe you have noticed problems with my engineering department. You think you can do better." Day's stomach tightened. "I only wanted to help." "Then let us see if you can help. I challenge you to a trial of competence, an old Vrelian tradition. We will each repair a damaged engine core. Whoever finishes first wins. If you win, I will listen to your suggestions. If you lose, you will stop questioning my authority." The crowd murmured. Day saw some aliens shaking their heads. Others looked amused. "I accept," Day said quietly. They brought out two identical engine cores. Both were damaged in the same way. The rules were simple. Use the provided tools. Make the engine run. First one to succeed wins. Cormesh had 8 arms. He could use multiple tools at once. He had decades of experience. He knew the proper procedure for every repair. Day had 2 hands, 1 month of experience on the station, and a toolbox. "Begin," Commander Tholvex said. Cormesh moved fast. His 8 arms worked like a machine. He followed the standard repair procedure perfectly. Remove the outer casing, check each component, replace the damaged parts, reassemble in order. Day looked at his engine core, then he looked at his tools. He didn't know the standard procedure. He only knew how engines worked, how parts fit together, how energy flowed. He picked up a cutting tool and did something that made the crowd gasp. He cut directly into the side of the engine, making a shortcut to the damaged area. He didn't remove the outer casing. He went straight to the problem. "That's not the proper method," someone shouted. Day ignored them. He pulled out the broken component through the hole he'd cut. He grabbed a replacement part, but it didn't fit. The threading was wrong. Cormesh was already halfway through his repair. His 8 arms moved with precision. Day looked at the part in his hand. Then he grabbed a different tool, one meant for a completely different job. He used it to modify the replacement part. He changed the threading, made it fit where it didn't fit before. "He's using the tools wrong," another engineer said. But Day was already installing the modified part. He sealed the hole he'd cut with a welding torch. He connected the power coupling. The engine hummed to life. "Done," Day said. The crowd fell silent. Cormesh was still working, 3 minutes away from finishing. Day's engine core was running, perfectly, smoothly. And he'd finished in half the time. Commander Tholvex walked forward. He examined Day's work. "This is not the correct procedure." "But it works," Day said. "It works better than the correct procedure." Tholvex's insect face was impossible to read. He turned to Cormesh. "The human wins." Cormesh stood frozen. All 8 of his arms hung at his sides. He looked at Day with something like fear in his 3 eyes. The crowd erupted in noise. Some aliens were excited. Others were angry. All of them were talking about the human who broke the rules and won. Day picked up his toolbox and left. His hands were shaking. He'd made an enemy today. He'd challenged the natural order of the station. He'd shown that humans didn't think like other species. That night, Yuna found him in his room. "You're famous now," she said, "and probably in trouble." "I just wanted to help," Day said. "I know, but you made them look bad. You made them question their own methods." She sat down beside him. "That's dangerous, especially here." A message appeared on Day's communicator. It was from Commander Tholvex. "Report to my office immediately." Day stood up. His stomach felt like ice. Whatever came next, he'd face it. He was human. Humans didn't run from challenges. He walked out into the bright corridor, toward whatever the commander had planned for him. Commander Tholvex's office was at the top of the station. The walls were made of glass. Outside, stars stretched in every direction. Day felt very small standing there. "Sit," Tholvex said. Day sat in a chair designed for beings much larger than him. His feet didn't touch the floor. "You embarrassed Engineer Cormesh today," Tholvex said. "You broke protocol. You used tools incorrectly. Yet you won." "I solved the problem. Isn't that what matters?" "No." Tholvex leaned forward. "What matters is order, structure, following the proper way. You humans think you can ignore thousands of years of established practice. You think your new ideas are better." "Sometimes they are." "Arrogant." Thalvex stood and walked to the window. I have a task for you, human. A test. If you succeed, I will grant you respect. If you fail, you will return to Earth in disgrace. Day's heart pounded. What task? The station core, the reactor that powers all of Nexus Prime. It is 800 years old. For 50 years, it has been failing. 17 master engineers have tried to repair it. All have failed. You will fix it. Why me? Because you claim to be so clever. Because you think you know better than your superiors. This is your chance to prove it. Thalvex's black eyes reflected the starlight. Or to prove that humans are just lucky fools. Day left the office with a datapad full of information about the station core. The more he read, the more his stomach sank. The core was in the deepest part of the station. The area was filled with radiation that could kill most species in minutes. The technology was ancient, from a civilization that no longer existed. There were no blueprints, no manuals, no guides. He met Yuna in the biodome. She was tending to a plant with purple leaves. They want me to fix the impossible, Day said. He explained the situation. Yuna's face went pale. The radiation levels are fatal. You'd have to work in 15-minute intervals. Any longer and you'd die. That's not enough time to even understand the problem. Then you need help. Yuna pulled out her communicator. I know someone, another human, Hyun Choi. He's a physicist. Came here 2 weeks ago to study quantum mechanics. They met Hyun in a small lab. He was thin and tall, with messy hair and eyes that never stopped moving. The station core? Hyun said when they explained. That's fascinating. The radiation signature is unique. I've been studying it. He pulled up graphs and charts. Here's something interesting. The radiation that's fatal to most species, humans can tolerate it much better. Why? Day asked. Evolution. Earth was more radioactive when life began. Our ancestors survived in high radiation environments. We have better DNA repair mechanisms, better cellular defenses. Hyun grinned. We can work in there for 30 minutes instead of 15. That's still not much time, Yuna said. No, Day agreed. But it's a start. They brought in one more person. Mina Song, a programmer who worked in the station's data center. She was quiet and careful, with sharp eyes that missed nothing. I can access the old station records, Mina said. Maybe find information about the core. Give me 2 days. 2 days later, they gathered in Day's small room. Mina had brought printouts of ancient files. The core is older than we thought, she said. It's not from any current galactic species. The design is completely different from modern technology. And look at this, she pointed to a diagram. This writing. It's not any known alien language. Day stared at the symbols. Something about them felt familiar. It looks almost like, Hyun leaned closer, like early human mathematical notation from thousands of years ago. That's impossible, Yuna said. Humans only reached space 100 years ago. Maybe not. Mina pulled up more files. I found 17 other stations with similar technology, all using this same unknown language, all predating current galactic civilization by 10,000 years. They sat in silence, understanding what this meant. Humans had been in space before, long ago, and then something had happened. They'd disappeared, and other species had found their ruins and built on top of them. If humans built this, Day said slowly, then maybe I can understand it. The next morning, Day descended to the lowest level of the station. The air was cold. The walls were thick metal. Warning signs in 50 languages said, danger, radiation, keep out. Hyun had designed a protective suit for him. Mina had hacked the security systems. Yuna waited above with medical supplies. Day stood in front of the core chamber door. His hands were sweating. 30 minutes, Hyun said through the radio. Then you must leave. Day opened the door and stepped inside. The core was beautiful, a sphere of light floating in the center of a large room. Energy danced across its surface, but parts of it were dark, damaged, dying. Day approached slowly. His radiation detector screamed warnings. He ignored it. Up close, he could see the writing, the symbols that Mina had found. Now, standing here, they made sense. They weren't just mathematics. They were instructions, written by humans, for humans. His hands moved across the core's surface. It responded to his touch, like it recognized him. For 25 minutes, Day worked. He understood things without knowing how he understood them. His fingers found connections that felt right, made adjustments that felt correct. Then something went wrong. The core began to pulse. Energy surged through it. Alarms blared. "Day, get out!" Hyun shouted through the radio. "It's going critical!" But Day couldn't stop. He was so close. Just one more connection, one more adjustment. The radiation levels spiked. His suit alarms screamed. His skin began to burn. "Day!" Yuna's voice. "Get out now!" He made the final connection. The core pulsed once, bright as a star. Then it went dark. Emergency lights kicked on. The entire station shuddered. Hyun ran into the chamber. He grabbed Day and dragged him out. Day's legs weren't working right. His vision was blurry. "I'm sorry," Day whispered. "I failed. I made it worse." "Sleep," Hyun said. "We'll figure it out." But there was nothing to figure out. As Day lost consciousness, the station's power failed. 60% of all systems went offline. Life support began to fail. 30,000 aliens were now in danger, and it was all Day's fault. Commander Thalvex issued an arrest warrant. Station security began searching for the human who had destroyed their home. In the medical bay, Day slept, unaware that he had just started a crisis that would change everything. Day woke up in a hospital bed. His skin felt like fire. Bandages covered his arms. Yuna sat beside him, her face tight with worry. "How long?" Day asked. His throat was dry. 3 hours since the core shutdown. The station is in emergency mode. Life support is failing. They're saying we have 48 hours before everyone dies. Day tried to sit up. Pain shot through his body. "I have to fix it. I have to—" The door burst open. Station security guards entered. They were tall reptilian aliens with weapons. "Day Kim, you are under arrest for sabotage," the lead guard said. "He didn't sabotage anything." Yuna stood up. "He was trying to help. He destroyed the core. 30,000 lives are at risk. Commander's orders." They pulled Day from the bed. He was too weak to resist. They dragged him toward the door. "Wait!" A new voice. Hyun ran into the room holding a datapad. Behind him was Mina. "You can't arrest him. He's the only one who can fix this." "He's the one who broke it," the guard said. "No." Mina held up her pad. "I've been analyzing the core's behavior. It didn't break. It went into a protection mode, an emergency shutdown, and it will only respond to someone with human DNA." The guards hesitated. "You're lying," one said, "trying to protect your friend." "Test it yourselves," Hyun said. "Send your engineers. Try to restart the core. It won't respond to them. It only responds to humans." The guards looked at each other. Finally, they left to report to Commander Thalvex. Yuna helped Day back into bed. "You need to rest. Heal." "There's no time." Day looked at Mina. "What did you find?" Mina pulled up her data. "The core isn't just a reactor. It's much more complex. I've been translating the ancient writing. The core was designed as a terraforming system. It was meant to change planets, make them suitable for life." "For human life," Hyun added. "That's why current aliens couldn't understand it. They were using it wrong, trying to make it just a power source, like using a computer to hold up a table." "So humans built all this," Day said. 10,000 years ago. We were here first." And then something happened, Mina said quietly. All the humans vanished. The other species found our ruins and built their civilization on top of ours. They didn't even realize what they'd found. A commotion outside made them turn. Voices were shouting, the sound of many feet running. Yuna opened the door. In the hallway, humans were gathering. All 20 of them who worked on the station. Taemin Lee, a cargo worker. Sora Jin, a medical officer. Others Day had only met briefly. "We heard about the arrest," Taemin said. "He was a big man with scarred hands. We're not letting them take you." "This isn't your fight," Day said. "Yes, it is." Sora stepped forward. She was small like Day, with fierce eyes. "You're human. We're human. If they want you, they go through all of us." More aliens appeared, but these weren't security. They were workers from the lower decks, the ones Day had helped during his time on the station. A mechanic with blue fur, a janitor with tentacles, a cook with 6 legs. "Human Day helped us," the blue-furred mechanic said. "We won't let Commander take him." The hallway filled with people, humans and aliens, standing together. "This is a protest," a security guard said nervously. "You must disperse." "No," Taemin said simply. The protest spread. Within hours, workers throughout the station refused to follow orders. Cargo wasn't moved. Systems weren't maintained. The station, already crippled by the core shutdown, ground to a complete halt. Commander Thalvex had no choice. He came to the medical bay himself. "Humans," he said, his insect voice cold. "You are making things worse." "You're making things worse," Yuna said. "Day is trying to save everyone, and you're treating him like a criminal." "He destroyed the core. The core shut itself down." Mina showed her data. "Because current methods were damaging it. Day triggered a safety system. If he hadn't, the core would have exploded in another week. He saved the station." Thalvex studied the data. His mandibles clicked slowly. "Even if this is true, we still have 48 hours before life support fails." "Can he fix it?" "I don't know," Day said honestly, "but I can try." "Not good enough?" "It's all you have," Hyun said. For a long moment, no one spoke. Finally, Thalvex turned to his guards. "Release him, under supervision. If he fails, he will answer for this." The guards lowered their weapons. Day stood up slowly. His body still hurt, but he could move. "There's something else," Mina said. "The core won't restart normally. It needs a complete reboot. A manual reset." "How?" Thalvex asked. "Someone has to interface with it directly. Connect their neural patterns to the core's systems. Guide it through the restart sequence." "That would be fatal," Sora said. She was the medical officer. "The neural feedback would burn out the person's brain." "Maybe not for a human," Hyun said quietly. "If the core was designed for humans, it might be safe for us." "Might be?" Yuna grabbed his arm. "That's not good enough." "It's all we have." Day repeated Hyun's words from earlier. They all looked at him. "You can't," Yuna said. "It's suicide. Everyone on this station will die if I don't try. 30,000 people, including all of you." "There has to be another way," Sora said. "There isn't." Day looked at each of them, his friends, the only other humans on the station. "I have to do this." That night they prepared. Sora designed a neural interface helmet. Hyun calculated the exact procedure. Mina programmed the reboot sequence. Yuna just held Day's hand and refused to let go. "I'm scared," Day admitted. "Me too," Yuna said. "But you're the bravest person I know. If anyone can do this, it's you. If I don't make it, you'll make it. You're too stubborn to die." Day smiled. Maybe she was right. In the lower decks, Cormesh appeared, the engineer who had challenged Day, who had been humiliated. "I want to help," Cormesh said quietly. "Why?" Day asked. "Because you were right. About the repairs. About the better methods. I was too proud to admit it. Too afraid of change." His 3 eyes looked sad. "I'm sorry. Let me help now." Cormesh brought technical equipment, tools, support systems. He worked through the night, preparing everything Day would need. Other aliens joined, the ones from the protest, the ones who had seen what humans could do. They worked together, preparing for the impossible. As dawn came to the station, or what passed for dawn in space, Day stood before the core chamber one last time. Behind him stood every human on the station. And behind them, hundreds of aliens who had chosen to believe. "Ready?" Hyun asked. Day put on the neural interface helmet. He took a deep breath. "Ready?" He opened the door and walked toward the light. The core chamber was cold and quiet. The sphere of light that had once floated in the center was now dim, almost dead. Day approached it slowly. His heart hammered in his chest. "Neural interface ready?" Hyun's voice said through the radio. "Connecting in 3, 2, 1. Day felt the helmet activate. Then pain. Pure, burning pain shot through his skull. He screamed, "Day!" Yuna's voice. "Disconnect! It's killing him!" "No," Day gasped. Don't stop!" The pain changed. It became something else. Not pain exactly. More like memories. Thousands of them. Millions. Flooding into his mind. He saw Earth. But not his Earth. An ancient Earth. 10,000 years ago. Humans spreading across the stars. Building stations. Terraforming worlds. Creating a vast civilization. He saw the collapse. A plague. Not of disease, but of the mind. Something that affected human neural patterns. It spread through the colonies. One by one, humans died or fled back to Earth. The great stations went silent. Earth survived. But the humans there forgot. They started over. Built civilization again from nothing. Never knowing they had already conquered the stars once before. The core remembered. It had waited. For 10,000 years, it waited for humans to return. "I'm here," Day whispered to the core. "I came back. We came back." The core responded, not with words, with feelings. Joy, relief, welcome home. Day understood now. The reboot sequence wasn't about forcing the core to work. It was about asking, about recognizing what it was, who had made it. He reached out with his mind and touched the core's systems. They responded like a puppy greeting its owner, eager, happy. "Let me help you," Day said. "Let me fix what's broken." Together they worked. Day's human mind and the ancient machine's intelligence. They cleared out 10,000 years of incorrect modifications, removed the parts that other species had added, not understanding what they were doing. The core began to glow brighter. Outside the chamber, alarms started ringing. But these were good alarms, power restoration alarms. "It's working!" Hyun shouted. "Power is coming back online!" In the medical observation room, Yuna watched the monitors. Day's vital signs were erratic. His brain activity was off the charts, but he was alive. "Come on," she whispered. "Come on, Day, come back to us." Inside the core, Day saw everything. He understood the station's entire design, every system, every connection. He could feel the 30,000 beings living here, their breath, their heartbeats. He made the final adjustment. The core blazed to life. Brighter than it had been in centuries. Energy flooded through the station. Lights came on. Air systems hummed. Gravity stabilized perfectly. Then Day felt the connection break. He fell backward, the helmet disconnecting. Everything went black. He woke up 3 days later. Yuna was asleep in a chair beside his bed. She looked exhausted. There were dark circles under her eyes. "Hey," Day said. His voice was rough. Yuna's eyes snapped open. She grabbed his hand. "You're awake. Oh, thank everything, you're awake." "Did it work?" She laughed. It sounded like crying. "Did it work?" "Day," The station is running at 300% efficiency. Every system is working better than it has in centuries. You didn't just fix it. You made it better than new. Over the next few days, Day learned what had happened. The Galactic Council had sent investigators. They had examined the core, studied the ancient writing, tested the DNA in the old systems. The conclusion was undeniable. Humans had built Nexus Prime Station, and hundreds of other stations throughout the galaxy. The current civilization was built on top of human ruins. Commander Thalvex had been removed from his position. A council investigation found that he had tried to suppress this information. He faced charges of obstruction and endangering lives. On the 10th day, a delegation from the Galactic Council arrived, representatives from 73 species. They gathered in the station's main hall. Day stood at the center, Yuna beside him, Yun and Mina behind them. All 20 humans on the station were there. "We have studied your claims," the council leader said. She was a being made of floating crystals. Her voice rang like bells. "We have confirmed them. Humanity is not a new species. You are the predecessor civilization, the builders, the first." Murmurs ran through the assembled aliens. "For 10,000 years, we lived in your ruins without knowing. We thought we had discovered these wonders. We didn't realize we had simply found them." The council leader floated toward Day. "We owe you an apology. We treated you as primitive, as weak, as lesser beings. We were wrong." One by one, the representatives from each species approached. Some bowed, some knelt. Some performed their own cultural gestures of respect. 73 species acknowledging humanity. Day felt strange watching this. He was just a mechanic, just a short man with greasy hands who liked fixing things. But he was also human. And humans, he had learned, were survivors, builders, creatures who refused to give up. "We don't want apologies," Day said. "We want partnership. We want to work together, to share knowledge, to build something better than what was before." The council leader's crystals chimed. "Humanity will be given a permanent seat on the Galactic Council. You will be recognized as equals, more than equals. As honored ancestors of our civilization." Celebrations erupted. Aliens who had dismissed humans now wanted to shake their hands, ask them questions, learn from them. Cormesh approached Day. The engineer looked humbled. "I treated you badly," Cormesh said. "I thought you were beneath me. I was a fool." "You helped in the end," Day said. "That's what matters." "I want to learn from you, the human way of thinking, of solving problems. Will you teach me?" Day smiled. "If you'll teach me your ways too, we can learn from each other." That night, there was a ceremony. The station was officially renamed Nexus Prime, Human Memorial Station, a monument to the civilization that had come before. Dai stood at the observation window with Yuna. They watched ships coming and going, humans and aliens working together. "They brought the entire galactic leadership to their knees," Yuna said, "all because of you." "Not just me, all of us, humans." "True." She looked at him. "What are you thinking?" "I'm thinking about how I was scared to come here, scared I wasn't good enough, big enough, strong enough. And now I know that none of that matters. What matters is not giving up, not backing down, doing what needs to be done even when it's hard." "Very human of you," Day laughed. "What does that mean?" "It means you're exactly what humanity is, stubborn, brave, too stupid to know when to quit." "I'll take that as a compliment." Far below, in the lower decks, workers were installing a plaque. It read, "In honor of Day Kim, the tiny human who showed us that size means nothing, and determination means everything." 5 years passed. Day now led a team of engineers, human and alien, working together. They traveled to ancient sites, found more human technology, restored it, taught the galaxy how it was meant to work. Yuna became the director of human-alien relations. She helped humans integrate into galactic society and helped aliens understand human ways. Hyun and Mina started a research institute, studying the old plague, understanding what had destroyed humanity's first civilization, making sure it never happened again. Over 200 human-operated stations now existed throughout the galaxy. Humanity's second age had begun. Day still thought of himself as just a mechanic, but when he looked at what he'd started, he felt proud. He'd come to the stars as a tiny human, unknown, dismissed, treated like a curiosity. He'd shown them what humans could do. Not through force, not through weapons, but through persistence, through intelligence, through refusing to accept limits. He'd brought the galaxy to its knees with nothing but determination and a toolbox. And that, Day thought, was the most human thing possible. The stars shined bright outside his window. Somewhere out there, more human ruins waited to be found, more mysteries to solve, more challenges to face. Day smiled. He couldn't wait to get started.